Welcome to Leverage Point On Demand training. In this installment, we will cover the 6th Value Modeling tab, Summary. This video is part of a series introducing Leverage Point users to value modeling. If you have not watched the videos that precede this one, I recommend that you do so. The Summary tab is the most comprehensive part of the value modeling tool because it's where you get to see all the important pieces of the value model together. Positive value drivers, negative value drivers if you have them, and the competitor price or reference value. This lighter green area is called differential value. It's the net value that your offering provides, namely the sum of all the dark green bars, which we call positive value drivers, minus the sum of the red bars, which are the negative value drivers, again if you have them. In this model, we do not. It's fair to say that the higher the differentiation value, the stronger your competitive positioning is with that customer. Now let's take a look at this orange bar called Total Economic Value. According to the EVE methodology, or Economic Valuation Estimation, this is the reference value or your competitor's offering price plus the differentiation value. So in our example, it is $478,000 plus $399,500, which equals $877,500. You may wonder what total economic value means. It represents the theoretical maximum price that a customer would be willing to pay for your offering, assuming they accepted all these value drivers. Practically speaking, this is very, very unlikely. But the customer should be willing to pay more than this reference value of $478,000. How much more is a topic of a future lesson. You probably may have noticed by now that your offering price, which is here below in the offering price tab, is not displayed on this current chart. It's displayed elsewhere in the tool, and again a topic for a future chapter. Next, I want to demonstrate a few key functions of this tab. First, you'll see the scope of your model that you defined on the Start tab, specifically offering, customer, and competitor. You can edit them here if you need to simply by clicking into each of these bars. Second, here you can change the displayed unit of measure. Note how it changes the value in the chart as well as the table below. Changing the unit of measure here will decide the default display for all price components and value drivers. Recall that initially our default display was year, but I can change it here to HVAC system life or back to year. Third is this zoom in feature. It's pretty self-explanatory and comes in handy if your value driver bars are very slim. Fourth, another useful feature is the ability to click on the blue and green bars to open up a calculation. Clicking on the green value driver bars opens up the formula dialogues that we saw before. If your competitor offering only has one price component, clicking on the blue reference value will open a formula dialog as well. However, in this case, there are two competitor price components, so the formula box doesn't open if we click on the blue bar. Let's turn our attention to the additional subtabs below. We see this value driver tab is open, showing all the positive value drivers. And below them, there is a space for negative value drivers if you have them. Just like the value driver tab, you can click on the calculator icon to open the calculation. I can also check or uncheck these value drivers. Unchecking it removes it from the chart above as well as recalculates the differentiation value and total economic value, like so. Notice this label field next to the value drivers. These are for the chart labels. Initially, these fields are blank, so filling them in gives a label in the chart above as well as in your eventual value proposition, so it's important to complete this step. I can sort value drivers alphabetically by name or by value. I can also drag and drop them like so. Notice this changes their order in the graph as well. Finally, the Add Custom and Select Existing options are available, which if you recall are how to add new value drivers, so you can do that from the Summary tab without the need to go back to either tab 4 or 5. You'll find that you can do a lot of value modeling from the Summary tab, so where you end up working will be your personal preference. To the right of the Value Driver subtab is the Variables subtab. Here you will see every variable and subformula listed in the value model. This is a great place to edit and do general cleanup. Please note that most of these variables will be ones you created as you built formulas for value drivers or pricing components. However, you can also add new variables here with an Add Variable button at the bottom of this list, similar to the Add Variable buttons you saw in formula dialogues from previous lessons. Be aware that some variables are added when you select existing value drivers, so you may not recognize them as ones you entered manually. Other variables, notably these with the hash symbol, are created automatically when you define your units of measure and your offering units. Note that I can sort my variable list by name or by value, the same way I did with my value drivers. I can click on the name of a variable if I want to edit it, like to fix a typo or make my variable name more consistent. Proper variable names will make your model building experience go much more smoothly. One handy feature is variable search. Click on this funnel icon above variable names to open the filters variable dialog. Let's say I want to search for a variable that has the word filter in it. I type filter here and it will return this list. I click OK to see my list of variables sorted down to these ones. To clear it, I open it back up, click clear, and click OK. Next, I want to explain this usage column. This is also handy for searching for variables. So for example, I'll click filter, and you'll see these selections. The All button selects all variables in your value model. Not Used will display any variables that you created but did not include in any calculation, whether that be value driver, price component, or subformula. Hash indicates units of measure variables. Plus means positive value drivers. That is, any variable that I use to calculate my value drivers. Let's select one, Reduce Maintenance, and see all the variables associated with that. To select from this list, first I click All, and then select the usage item that I want. Let's click on the Maintenance green bar above to recall how we calculated this value driver. You can see there are two variables in my formula. However, one of the variables here is a subformula with two additional variables. Because of that, the number of variables associated with this value driver is 4, which is how many variables my usage filter returns. I can change values here and see the impact on the chart above. For example, I'll change annual maintenance cost for NTG per square foot from 12 cents to 20 cents. And see the chart changed. Let's go back to the usage filter. Moving on, Comp signals our competitors' price components. Compare are for variables used in comparison charts. We'll talk about these in a later chapter. FX means subformulas. Our indicates our offering price components. And table are for table variables. Again, we'll talk about tables in a later chapter. One usage item you may see but isn't here is minus, which means negative value drivers. So that's it for the variable tab. I'm going to skip the tag column for now. We'll get into that in a later lesson. The final two subtabs that you see here are for competitor price and offering price components. These are essentially the data from tabs 2, units and prices. Again, a convenience so I don't need to leave this tab to change pricing data. This concludes summary.